I'm going to start that again. Oh shit! This is the movie we're talking about. Oh
I thought
man,
we're doing Alien. Damn it!
No,
No.
wait,
I
wait,
lost
wait.
track. I lost track too. What, Martin?
I made a slideshow for the Queen Latifah show. What is this?
Queen Latifah. The
Yeah.
house sitter movie that she did with Steve Martin. Are you out of your
I
fucking
thought
mind?
we were doing Short Time with Dabney Coleman.
No, the Equalizer show with Queen Latifah. I thought that was the one.
I thought what was crazy today. Oh,
I'm really confused.
Damn it.
This is how it is. 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 Today on Pop Culture Minefield. This is how it is. Today. This is how it is. Today on Pop Culture Minefield. This is how it is. This is how it is. Today on Pop Culture Minefield. Today on Pop Culture Minefield.
Today on Pop Culture Minefield. I love that opening theme. I really do. So I'm having a weird day because, man, I took some cough drops from the doctor and they knocked me for a loop, brother.
That's code for he's high.
Yeah, I'm not high, but I am still a little bit like groggy in my brain. It's like, whoa, it's weird. Anyway, hi guys, it's Wednesday. We are going to be talking about one of my favorite action films directed by Antoine Fuqua. Just a great director. I don't think he's done anything I haven't liked. And his work with Denzel Washington is just incredible. And they did 3 Equalizer films, a trilogy. I do believe there will be no more. I think they said all they wanted to say with the third film, where he took on a branch of the mafia in Italy, and they had a nice little crossover because it touched on his other film that he did with Tony Scott, Ridley Scott's brother, called Man on Fire, and he worked with Dakota Fanning, and of course Dakota Fanning is in this movie. So it's kind of bizarre moment when they're talking because it just did you react to that, Martin, when you see the two of them interact?
I haven't seen the third one yet.
Oh, brother, you got to see that.
It's very
movie.
good. Yeah, it's his.
It's a farewell film.
It's pretty good.
It is. It's Unforgiven. It's a modern Western. And goddamn, dude, the shit he does in that film. And I won't tell you how it ends, but it is. They consider it the final film. They don't. You know, if money pushes them and audience and fans want more, I'm sure they could probably be talked into it. But they kind of want this to be done, and they felt like this was a good farewell to the series for him to just be able to ride off in the sunset and be done saving people. E. Clay Thompson says, "Hello, everyone."
Well, what is that ending? He said he's him is saying, "Oh, I can't do that, do this anymore." Fucking
Well, Denzel looks older. You can see it because his jowls
yeah.
are dropping a little bit. So, man, that dude, black don't crack. Man, that guy has been doing action, but over the last 2.5 years, he's aged a bit. And I don't know if it's from stress or if that's just common for his family. They hit a certain age and then bam, the body starts showing it. But God damn it, I love Denzel Washington, always have. First time I saw him was on St. Elsewhere when he was one of the doctors there. And is he the character that died of AIDS on the show? Because they
No.
killed one character off with AIDS.
Mark Harmon is the character they killed.
That's Mark Harmon had AIDS. What happened with Denzel's character?
He, I believe, if I remember correctly, he rides off into the sunset with Alfre Woodard. But when her character wound up on that episode of Homicide that she was in.
Oh, yeah, the crossover. I liked it when they would do those crossovers.
She doesn't mention him.
She doesn't?
She does not. No.
Well, that might be...
Which kind of... Yeah.
That might be contractual issues. You never know. Because I know they did that with Homicide. Had crossovers. And you'd have characters from other shows that were not associated. It's just a shared network.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, Snortopus is here. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
We have Snorts. We have Wade. Of course, you.
Wade is here.
Yeah, and he wants you to make an intro for him.
Guten Tag, Wade.
Apparently, he thinks your intros are funny.
And at some point, we had Tim, but he's no longer.
Oh,
And he's no longer talking in chat.
probably at work.
Who's not talking in chat?
Tim.
He just said hi.
However, he was first.
Oh, he was. Edward Woodward. Absolutely. And Edward Woodward's character, as McCall, is connected to another thing that he did over in the UK. And many believe that it is an unofficial sequel to the British series that he did as an agent, because he played this character exactly the same. And so I wouldn't be surprised. And he's got a lot of range, McCall. He's in one of my favorite weird horror films ever made, the original Wicker Man. Edward Woodward. His last film was Hot Fuzz with the Shaun of the Dead crew. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy that monitors the whole town. He's the one that watches the monitors in the film. Then he comes out with a gun and they have to shoot and kill him at the end of the movie.
He's kind of the main villain. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bad guy, man. That's a film. You know what? We need to do that trilogy. Do all three.
Yeah.
What do they call them? It's the type of
Cornetto.
That's it. The Cornetto trilogy. And Into the World. A lot of people were down on that film. I love that movie. I thought
that's the one I need to see.
Oh my God, you haven't seen it?
I never got to it. No.
Absolutely wonderful. And I know we're kind of running off on a tangent, but everything's connected because we went to Edward Woodward, and Edward Woodward was in one of the trilogy. He was in the second film, Hot Fuzz. And it's got I think all three have a fence scene, as I recall. They play it forward. They're different. Every film anima is a different film. It's different characters.
Okay.
It's just the same cast, and they'll have repeat somehow visual repeat jokes
Mhm.
that I
Sounds
just love that.
confusing.
And Nick Frost, man, I fucking love that guy, dude.
Yeah,
I
he's,
know
Yeah.
I'm a little buzzed right now with this medication, but I mean it. I love Nick Frost. He's one of my favorite comedic actors. And he's played serious drama once. And I just sat there going, is this going to get funny at some point? And then I realized, oh no, he's playing a serious character. Because the dude, him and the main guy, I just forget his name, plays Scotty in Star Trek and is in Mission
Simon Pegg.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Simon Pegg, thank you. The two of them are like best friends in real life. And it really comes out. The Alien movie, where they're taking the alien from Area 51 to a convention. God damn, I love that movie. And I hate Seth Rogen because he's the voice of the alien.
Yes.
But I
it's the alien.
fucking love that film. What, Martin? You said something?
Yes, the movie is called Paul.
Paul, what did you think of it?
Oh, I love it, but at some point, the thing is this: like 50% of the humor is based only on references, not on actual jokes.
Well, that's the problem with nerd projects, especially if you involve Seth Rogen, because he has a one-track form of humor, which why I don't think he's very good. He's a one-trick pony, and he's got the single most annoying laugh, but that kind of worked in the movie with the alien, because you want the alien to be like this. Oh, he's so cool, and then he's got fucking Seth Rogen's voice, making him like an annoying character but funny. It's one of the few times I felt like he worked.
I love the part in which he resurrected the bird.
Oh my god, yeah.
Just do it.
I wish I knew what you're talking about.
Oh, you will, but you have a long list of homework. You have to watch a long
Gee,
list.
you think?
No, you have to watch a long list of movies just to get the references in that movie.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that I like is because like we're watching news radio, Anima and I, we're into season 4, and I will have to pause when they make a joke on the show to explain what the joke meant.
Quite often, yeah.
Because it's usually a reference to a movie or another TV show.
It's been a while since we watched that, by the way.
I know, and it's.
And I'm scared. I'm scared of finishing Bill's last season and then continuing without him.
I think that's why I'm not pushing it, because I get really morose and dark when we get that period, because that was a dark period for me when he was murdered, and I just kind of like, remember when people thought music was dead when the Big Bopper and I just forget his name. Valens and Holly. Yeah, Holly. When all three of them died, there was this sense that music was dead. And when Phil Hartman died, it felt like comedy died momentarily. And so I was like in this dark place when he I'm not gonna say passed away, when he got killed. It really broke me a little bit. It's the only time I ever pulled down the Blade Runner website, the fan club. I shut the website down and put up a little card that said in memory of Phil Hartman, his birth and death. And I said something about comedy, the death of comedy. And that was up for like a week. And then I put the website. And it's been consistently on for 30 years now, that website. I'm proud of that. Bladezone.com. And that's kind of a Phil Hartman voice, really. When I did it. Did you catch it when I did it?
Well,
it was accidental.
It sounded a little more like Heston.
Well, that's his Heston. Because he does Heston. And I'm doing Phil Hartman's Heston. Like I will do an impression of him doing an impression. It's weird. Phil had one of those impacts on me. Him, Norm Macdonald. It's funny. My two favorite comedic people dead. Bummer. But getting back to this film, I like the fact that they shot this entire film around what was that town in Boston? I sent it to you guys on Facebook. Did you guys get it? The link?
Oh no.
I didn't have time to look at it. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. I'll open it.
Well, it's in the same town in which Mystic River is filmed because they talk about the same
Yeah.
river, the Mystic.
Well, that bridge. That's the same bridge featured in the film.
Right.
And Anima asked me about that. I forgot. I don't remember what the name of that bridge is. But here it is. I opened the document here. The Equalizer, a 2014 American action thriller directed by Antoine Fuqua and starring Denzel Washington, is a gripping tale based on the 1980s series of the same name. Denzel Washington portrays Robert McCall, a former Marine and CIA operative who reluctantly returns to his dangerous past to protect a young trafficking victim from the Russian mafia. The sequels, Equalizer 2 and Equalizer 3, were released on July 20th, 2018 and September 1st of 2023. Where was the Equalizer filmed? Principal photography for the Equalizer took place from May to September, largely in several sites throughout Boston, Massachusetts. The scenic setting made an excellent backdrop for the film's strong action sequences and heartbreaking moments. The film premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival on September 7th, 2014, and was released globally on September 26th of 2014. There are several locations in Boston, including Haverhill, Hamilton, Ipswich, and Swampscott. I had a relationship with a girl back in the 80s from Swampscott, Massachusetts. That is the craziest name.
Swamp
What?
Girl, yeah.
Yes, Swamp Girl. She was brilliant. She's a doctor now up in Boston. And I've never bothered her. I just, it was good to see what happened to her.
There's no point in reminding her past mistakes.
You said that. Ooh, he's getting the look. I'm so glad every time I'm not the recipient of that look.
Okay, I don't know what is going to happen, but I regret nothing.
Good on you. You shouldn't. There, that's all you get for him. By the way, my favorite colleague, he knows the days when I'm doing a show, and we had a little time towards the end where we were just killing time the last half hour. So he asked me, hey, what are you talking about tonight? And I asked him, have you heard of the Equalizer? And of course he has not, because believe it or not, he's seen less movies than I have. So I gave him a quick summary.
I don't think that's humanly possible.
Oh, it is. Meet René. So I give him a quick summary, and he's just looking at me. And when I finish talking, he's like, and you like stuff like that? He couldn't believe it, because I went into the brutality of it all, especially when he finishes them off in the hardware store. Mm-hmm. Turning the whole hardware store into a giant weapon against guys in fucking SWAT gear and stuff. And he
I told you, if you... And I'm not kidding.
Weapon. I know.
He was Michael Myers in that movie.
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't tell my colleague that because he wouldn't have known, but I told him stuff like killing the guy with the drilling machine. And
he is either Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees, either one. That he killed those guys the way those characters were. And if you were to take that scene alone and put that kind of music to it,
the one with the razor wire.
Yeah. Oh my fucking god.
Oh my god. Yeah.
He is a horror slasher character in that fucking movie.
Absolutely.
For the Russian mob, and I just love that movie so much.
The blood is so dark always, not even when the lighting is down. The blood.
Yeah, they tried not to be gory.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be gratuitously. They didn't want to be gratuitous. I'm serious. They tried their best to show you things. It's sort of like the way I do in Vindicated. I'm realistic, but not really gory. I mean, you see him shoot a guy in the fucking face. Yes,
Yeah.
you see brain matter, but I chose to make it black and white.
Well, and that's what they do in this movie because they show you what has been done without showing you. Like when he takes out that guy in the restaurant who just gets up to go pee, and then the Equalizer comes in with his smashed glasses full of blood, puts them down on the table and says, "He ain't coming back." You know what happened, and you don't have to see it to know how brutal it was. I love
Yeah.
it, really.
And
You
in
also see
fact,
it
one of
now.
my favorite brutal scenes in any film. Look, I am no fan of Daniel Craig's Bond. I'm not,
Mm,
but I love that first
God,
fight
no.
scene where he kills his third person
He was
or his
so
first
wrong as
person.
Bond. I'll die on that hill.
He kills his first person in that bathroom, and it's in black and white. And I love that they did it that way. But this film, Antoine wanted to shoot the film and wanted to make it to where most people could watch it and not feel like they'd seen something grotesque. There's a poetry that's the character of Robert McCall. Robert McCall, right from the get-go, when you see him working, you can tell this is a mask. This is a facade to help him move forward. This is a guy who has done things and horrible things, maybe for the right reasons, but they're still horrible.
It's obvious that he has a dark past, but when you find out how dark he can be, holy shit.
Oh, he's horrifying.
Oh,
Because the
yeah.
Russian says, "I want you to look at me. Tell me what you see." And then he returns the favor later. He says, "You look at me. Tell me what you see." And right then and there, the Russian knew he's up against someone that's equally as bad as him. I like that.
And he doesn't need many words to get the message across. It's like not over dialogued. I enjoy that.
That's your best, in my opinion, the best characters in history and film. The Searchers with John Wayne. He's not a man of a lot of words. He's a man of action. You go back to Rambo. The thing about Rambo, and I'm glad they edited the original First Blood film to
Yeah.
take out some of the dialogue he says, because he turned him into a man of few words. And that your guys of action, Conan needs to be that way too. Conan the Barbarian. That's why it kind of worked with Schwarzenegger, but didn't work with Momoa, because Momoa talked like a 16-year-old girl on prom night, just wouldn't shut the fuck up
Oh, God, yeah.
in his film. And that's, I don't blame Momoa for that, because I like Momoa. There's the bridge. That's the Mystic River.
He's a cool dude. Momoa.
Oh, I absolutely love him. He's a big supporter of Guinness Stout.
And he cares about the environment. Telling people, please ditch the plastic bottles. You could do better.
Well, we've got a serious problem.
Well, yeah, we do. But especially seeing where he comes from, and it's getting really bad there. So I'm glad he's using his popularity to be a voice.
Yep.
For nature, for that.
All right. So one of the first things you learn about Robert McCall is the man of routine, which I really like that about his character.
You can say routine. You can also say OCD because
I live on repetitive routines in my real life. And when I go off, I always feel off when I go off my routines, because I'm not as severely OCD as this character. This character is way more OCD than me. But you see it in everything he does. They even show the scene when he locks the door on the Russians and he's about to murder them all. In 15 seconds, technically it ends up being 28 seconds.
I love how he counts himself.
But the way he interacts with these kids in this scene, I really like it. Like they're almost dissing him at a certain point, some of the shit they say. But he just laughs it off. And then they ask him, like, "What did you do before?" He says, I was a pimp. They're like, "You were a pimp?"
Oh yeah, that was fun.
No.
I love that scene. This is how you learn that he just wants to help people. So at first it's weird when he asks a dude for what are you having for lunch, and he goes into detail, and then he takes a bite of his sandwich and it crunches, and he's like, dude, hand that to me. And
You
you
put
get that
potato
he's
chips
helping,
in it.
yeah, he's helping him with his nutrition because he wants to become a security guard and he needs to meet a certain weight goal. You're like, oh,
Exactly. In the
no,
film, it
he's not a
starts.
freak. He's just trying to help, and he knows
This
that.
is not a what do they call that? Where a character begins. Batman. They always do that at the beginning of superhero films.
What
Forget
do
the
you
name of it. No, Martin should know what I'm talking about. Where they show how Superman became Superman, how Batman became Batman.
Origin
You don't
stories.
need that.
Origin
You
stories.
You don't
See,
need
This
that.
is
is
You
an
don't-
not-
origin story.
Yeah, this movie isn't an origin
So,
story
I
because
don't know
we don't
anything
go all the
about
way
the
back.
background.
We don't go
And-
back to see what made him who he is. We
Oh,
get
but
him
it's-
mid-story where he is who he is. But
Yes.
it is the origin of how he becomes
The Equalizer.
Equalizer.
The
the
original show
origin
was
of the
kind of
Equalizer.
like that as well,
I just-
because
The origin, yes,
Yeah.
the first episode.
in the first
And-
episode, that when they have the first scene with him and his son, Johnny Lawrence, William Zabka, and he has that whole he
That's the
says
kid
that
from
thing about-
Cobra Kai, guys,
kid
if you
from
didn't
Cobra
catch
Kai.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says he's talking about somebody's saving like a busload of hostages, and I always wondered if that was you, and it might have been. You know,
It might have been.
might have
Nice
You never
avatar,
know.
by the way. So
What's that,
I
Yes.
just want I said nice avatar to Stephen. I just wanted to point out, so there's books, there's a series, yada yada. I didn't know anything, obviously, going into this. You don't need to, because you can piece together where he comes from. You never get real answers to that, but you don't need them. He's a beast, he's brutal, but he does it for the right reasons. He's a vigilante, and I'm fine with
Well,
that.
in the original books, he was white. But I'm going to
And
tell
does that
you
matter?
right now
Not really.
that the author of the book felt that Denzel was the perfect representation of the character, and he's kind of turned him into Denzel Washington as he continued the series of books. And has anybody in this group read the books other than me?
I didn't know there were books. I only knew the show with Edward.
I didn't even know that going into this. I'm clueless as usual.
Yeah, he even changed the cover. Michael Sloan is the author, and
Now-
hold on a second, let me look this up.
A
I mean,
question.
the final
I didn't
entrance he
know
makes
there were.
in that warehouse, it couldn't be anyone but him. He owns that scene. Like the
Now,
dark
a
music,
question.
everything is wet because the sprinklers have gone off, and then he comes in, all badass. That's just for him. That's written for him.
Here you
Okay. When I saw the show,
go. That's the book, The Equalizer. You can get it on Amazon. Michael Sloan. He's the co-creator of the TV series too. And
which is
he's,
older, the book or the series or the TV show?
I'm assuming the book.
I'm not sure. Let's go look see.
Now, when I saw the TV show in the 80s, albeit it was in Spanish, I watched it dubbed. I always had the impression that the guy has been part of the intelligence in Europe. He never struck me as a CIA agent.
I didn't know
Right,
until
I'm
today
not-
that there are books. How did I miss this?
The things you learn on Pop Culture Minefield.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I don't know. Here it is about the author. Michael Sloan has been a showrunner on such TV series as Alfred Hitchcock Presents, Kung Fu: The Legend Continues, and Outer Limits. I would have left that Kung Fu Legends Continue. That was a terrible show. Outer Limits. He has also written and produced numerous TV movies and features. He co-created the series Equalizer for Universal TV CBS and is one of the producers on the feature version of the Equalizer for Sony Pictures, starring Denzel Washington. They say title role, usually titular role. Robert McCall. which is also the name of one of my best friends that you hear me refer to as Mac. It's his name, Robert McCall. And he loves that because he's a big Equalizer fan. Michael is married to actress Melissa Anderson, and they have 2 children, Piper and Griffin. I was hoping because they're saying the book was published in 2014, but I feel like I read that before.
2014.
That would be the Mandela effect, Gary.
It could be the what?
Mandela effect. When you are so
Oh,
sure you remember
Mandela
something,
effect.
but it never happened. Yeah.
Sometimes your,
Yeah.
your accent does throw me.
By the way,
Love you too.
by the way, Tim
I love
says
you.
this about the books. To which I will have to say he has earned a new video.
Yep. Good
Works for
one.
me.
Yeah.
Where is his greeting video? The new one?
I think it's in the military Monday.
Okay, no, that's too.
But we did bring up Phil Hartman, and so I want to play a Phil Hartman video.
Dave and Matthew, what is it now? For God's sake, no one's smoking, okay? But nothing! You know what we need around here is an anti-whining ordinance. So just sip your sniffling with lip and all your skinny ass
God, he was
I
the
love
king.
that show. I
Again-
need to come back to watch
Again, the last word that I'm able to understand is ordnance.
it.
the yelling
Anti-whining
after-
audience.
Okay, but after the word ordinance, I can't understand anything.
Why? Are you not capable of speaking and understanding English?
I don't even understand your conversation right now. Like what?
Okay.
Where
I
did
guess
you
I'm
hear
gonna
the
have
word ordinance?
Yeah, anti-whining,
Mark-
whatever.
When he said
Oh, an
anti-whining
anti-whining ordinance. Gotcha. Okay.
And after that, I don't get any of the words.
Well, they're talking
he's-
over each other.
He
but-
says we need an anti-whining ordinance, and he says, "Oh, what is it, Matthew?" And he starts to say something. He says, "Nobody's smoking," because this is the smoking episode where Phil is trying to quit
Oh, that's-
smoking,
yeah.
and to share the experience with Phil or Bill McNeil, David quits drinking coffees because he's like a 4-pot a day coffee drinker.
And they're both going crazy.
And so they're in a mood. He's because like when he shows up and he goes, "How you feeling, Buzz?" You know, and he's like, I feel terrible." He goes, but better. And he says, "How are you feeling?" He says, "Oh, I coughed up something that looked sort of like escargot, but not bad
Ugh.
after that."
Here,
I
am
love
on
that
it.
show so
Wait,
fucking much.
wait.
Me too.
Some great writing.
This is
What's
for
that?
you, Tim.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
And this is the old one.
Meanwhile,
Okay, one of the few moments where he talks.
Prime laps with your 4 wins.
No,
I got to tell you, Arnold Schwarzenegger got me emotional in that movie when he turns and he's praying to Crom. He says at the end of this prayer, you know, no one will remember if it was one against many, you know. And then he says, "I just ask, give me revenge, and if
And
you
if you
cannot
don't
help me, then to hell with you." I got emotional in that scene. What?
no, he should end all his phrases with "loud."
Yeah, I was just going to say, why give a guy like him so much dialogue when his strength is clearly the weird screaming?
They don't. He doesn't
Yeah.
really talk a lot in that movie, which is why it works.
because
because
the
he
weird
only talks-
screams are his forte.
He has those moments in the film where he does talk. It's
Yet,
usually expression.
well, Anima speech is his forte. He's highly educated.
I know.
Oh, man,
that.
I
He's
have
just
watched
punished
him.
by accent.
No,
I
no.
have-
I'm talking about Conan. Conan was highly educated
Conan,
in
yeah.
the movie.
Yeah, he was an avarice reader. of literature. I won't call them books, but he read a lot.
Mm.
So he read poetry. He was taught in poetry. They even talk about that when he was imprisoned.
And history, the montage.
Yep. It's really good. This guy was very well educated, but he was a man of action. And I like characters like that. And that's what, McCall is in this film. McCall, he talks, he says some funny shit. But the fact is when he goes bitch, resting bitch face, that's a scary dude.
And I love
And
that he
he's-
always has a book with him.
He loves
He goes
reading.
out to dine alone, and he always has a book, and he has a very particular way of placing everything, and he brings his own tea bag. He's so weird and so funny at the same time.
I love the book that he's reading in the beginning of the film, which is
The Old Man and the Sea.
The Old Man in the Sea, which is a great story by Steinbeck.
Tim, fuck you. I even understand him when he speaks.
I got to tell
Austrian.
you, his
That's
accent is pretty.
something.
When you listen to an Austrian accent, especially Viennese, holy shit, it is worlds apart from what Arnold talks. And that's why I laughed when he spoke with the German production company that was going to be releasing the film in the Germanic countries, offered to do his own German, and they were like, we're good. We're good.
And the thing is, the Styrian dialect that he's speaking, it's not even the worst. Because Gary said, listen to people from Vienna, and that's a whole other thing. Dude, people in the West, their dialect is almost as bad as Schweizerdeutsch, and that's the German they speak in Switzerland. That is
And
barely
just to remind you
recognizable as a
guys-
form of German.
But still, we love them all.
There's a reason
Yeah.
why the Viennese are so beautiful, because Vienna is the Paris of Bavaria.
Oh, fuck you, Gary. This was never going to get old, is it?
No,
He
it's
is
a joke. I'm gonna
counting,
keep-
you guys.
I'll probably
He is
say it to you.
counting.
When I'm dying, my last words to you: I love you, and Vienna is the Paris of Bavaria. Then I'll
Well,
go,
guess
"Ah."
what? Then in your dying moment, I'm going to hit you with a teddy bear.
Did you say titty bear? I like that.
Teddy bear. Fuck you.
Oh, Teddy.
Stop it.
Dude, I
Jesus Christ.
I have your final words. You have to say that. This you have to say. I surely take a long time to say goodbye, and then
Oh, yeah.
And
Where's the video?
Oh,
Oh, here it is.
You take a hell of a long time to say goodbye.
Seriously, we're gonna do that movie. I fucking love that film so much.
Which one's that again?
The Big Country. I love this scene with him in that tire, because I've done that exercise, and I'm telling you, man, you don't think it's gonna be tough until you're doing it.
Oh, that's pretty common over here in the bigger gyms. Tire and ropes.
God, it's a beautiful
no.
bridge. I like this cafe. It's a real cafe. A titty bear. You heard me, Tim.
Yeah. Both of you, fuck off. Leave me alone. I've been working in 4 languages. You do that for a whole day and then we talk, okay?
This is the weird thing here, and it's something I want to point out that I say is a flaw in the film, is they show her bruised in the face, and that's the one thing these motherfuckers won't do. She's
Not in
property
the face, no.
to them, yes, but the fact is they don't do the face. They won't
Yeah,
bruise them
that's
in the
how she
face.
earns money.
They
She
will
needs to look
whip
pretty.
their ass or their backs, and they'll also punch them in the ribs. They won't hit them in the spleen or any of that shit. So I thought that was weird. I felt like he should have had a cut outfit that he could see the bruises rather than on her face, because I thought it was kind of, I don't know, fake. It was one of the fake aspects of the film, but I thought she did a terrific job. You
They
know,
also bring it up that when they're finished with the girls, they burn their faces to shit with acid.
That's
That's
scary.
when they're finally done. And they don't care whether they survive or not.
What?
but-
Martin.
I just want to ask publicly to Andy. No, not Andy. Tim. What the fuck did you send me, old man?
I
Oh my god.
I won't open them during the show. I won't open.
I
what
don't even
was
want
it?
to know.
Is it a titty bear? Is
Yes.
it a titty bear? Oh my
Yes.
god! But you can't. Can we show it or no?
Yeah. We can show you only
Goodbye, monetization.
this one.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, the boobs go around the outside of the bear. I get it. So they can like hold it like this. I get it. That's cute.
Okay, whatever. You weird, Tim, but we all knew that, so.
I love Tim. Tim's great.
Nope.
Only my friends call me Titty Bear. You know, my nickname has been Gare Bear for close to 20 years. 20. Yeah. Coming up next year will be 20 years.
Well, you're fucked because from now on it's Reaper.
And I like it when some of my friends adopt that and call me Gare Bear. I don't know why I like that. It was Comic Colors, and oh my god. If you've never seen John Alderink's work, oh my god, what a brilliant fucking painter. And he took working for comics, but eventually he discovered you can't make a living in comics. So he does it still, but he primarily does carpentry. He went the way of Harrison Ford and Tom Selleck. Did you know that? That Tom Selleck also, to make money, was a carpenter.
We owe a video.
Oh,
Another
do we
one.
really? Do we really?
Yes. It was
All right.
it was a good one.
He should have said back.
Open your back door, baby. Loosen your hinges, I'll show you my key.
Because I feel like he kind of missed it. It should have been backdoor Titty Bear.
And
It looks like my cousin Squeezy. What? Good old Snorter.
Please
Good old
don't tell
Snorter.
us more, Snorty. Don't.
I got
We
a
need to
feeling
do
that some of
backdoor videos,
some of
Gary.
Snorty's fans would probably be fun, but I'll leave it there.
Hey, how come, Gary, we haven't stumbled across a backdoor clip in a while now? We're watching so much stuff and there's no backdoor in it.
I don't know, but we're going to pause this for a second, take a little break from the show for a sec,
Hi,
because
Redshirt.
oh hey, Red Shirt's. Oh, why aren't you on with us, man? I love Red Shirt, man. He's such a cool dude. I meet a lot of great people, but he's one of my favorites. I mean, the minute I found out he was a fan of The Prisoner, I wanted to hang out with him. And that's true. That was when I really started talking to him. But in the private chat, you see a link there, Martin.
Yeah. Coming there.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to share a screen. This is something I don't talk about. I'm really not supposed to say much because it's still in pre-production. But I did all the production art. This is Stephen Fucci. That's not his real name. I know his real name. His real last name is Fiacci, but he went by this name in film. And he made a ton of money off of this movie as the executive producer on it. And Turner bought this movie as part of their underground collection, Turner Films. And so you can actually watch this film over on Turner. And it is a fun little punk film. It's punk. And he was kind of a punk, you know. But he started out as an actor and he got kind of turned off by Hollywood. And he went and opened his own company. I don't want to say the name of the company because, once again, his privacy is important to me. But he's raised two kids, both of them filmmakers. I've worked with both of his children. Great people. And Stephen and I became very close. And he did this little story about a school for exorcism. I can't say the name of it. And in fact, I think I posted about it on Twitter. Go to my media. Where's media? There it is. This was the cover art for the comic book I did. I cut off the logo so you can't see it. Here, I'll engorge it. Ooh, that's engorged. You guys like my engorged art?
I prefer.
So, and by the way, the black guy that's Langston Fishburne. He and I became friends. Really nice guy, Lawrence Fishburne's son, and that's Lorenzo Lamas on the right. And once I did this cover for them, they fired the other comic book artist, and I redid some pages and drew the rest of the book. And I don't want to say his name because we're friends. He's a really good artist, very well known IDW artist. But as even Thomas said, my ability to do likenesses is like Drew Struzan-esque because I'm a student of Drew Struzan. I know how to do likenesses. Yes, you're weird, but in a good way. Hey, man, right now, man, weird is the way to go right now because I'm weird as fuck. And the reason I fell in love with this girl next to me here, because she's weird as fuck. And I like weird people. So fuck
weird.
the left. What's that, babe?
I said, I am weird.
I know. Peter Vickman's fans like Vickman's girl. Hi. Hope you're having a good day. I am high as fuck right now on medication. So
yeah, let's get back to the movie.
Flying Gary.
Well, oh no, I told you I'm taking a break to talk about something. So I shared a link with him. This guy, I've worked with him, and after I did all the production art for this film, I designed everything from explosive lollipops that have powers to destroy a demon to holy hand grenade. No shit, I designed a holy hand grenade. I'm serious. There's a holy hand grenade in this story, and
from Antioch.
And what's that? From Antioch, yeah, of course, it has to be. You know, where else would you make a holy hand grenade other than Antioch? But I really liked working on this. But Martin, did you pull up the video yet? I don't see it.
I'm on it.
Because we'll do that and I'll end the show, or not in the show, but in this part of the show. But the comic book was a lot of fun, and it is the short film. But the short film that they made is basically a proof of concept idea for the network. The network's interested in it. I can't say which network. Can't say the name of the thing, but I can show you artwork. And I was asked them because Stephen, when he found out that I did music, started like buying my music. And it's like other people have done that. They go, you do music, and then they'll go and they'll buy my CDs going, this is really good music. And I'll thank you. I put out 2 albums, and I'm preparing to put 2 more out. A total of right now almost 30 songs. And that'll be split between 2 albums. One will be the stuff called Love and Other Tragedies. And then the other one is the rock album, and it's called The Day I Saw Only Clouds. It's my cynic period.
Okay, the video is uploaded.
Oh, you put it in here.
Yes.
Oh, I just to share it. I'm sorry.
No.
All right.
It runs.
I wrote an original song in 2019. And he wanted me to put it to another song. And I'm like, I don't want to do that because that song is important to me because it's one of my instrumentals. He said, but I really like that. So I'm like, well, let me do something else. And then finally, this is what I ended up with. And I sent it to him as a gift, and he just was like moved. He wrote me later, said, man, I got tears when I heard what you did. Thank you. Thank you so much. So here you go. This is the song. It was supposed to be the theme and may still be the theme for this show about exorcism and School of Exorcism.
Go where you need to, like every day that we do. Into the darkest places where no light shines through. Fight if you must, surrounded by those you trust. If you're looking for redemption, there's no salvation around here. For prayers are broken, no vows are broken.
There you go. Yeah, we won't get copy. I've had a claim against my own music. I played a song I have the album rights to, everything, because
That's
I
what
wrote
he's
and produced
referring
it.
to, Barry. Everybody
And
knows you've been going for your own music, and it's
yeah,
fucked up.
it pisses me off when they do that shit. So I'll probably see a notification because that song is available on my Cohen's Ghost website, YouTube page. When the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. Absolutely.
I look
What's
so
that?
weird.
ABC, CBS, NBC,
CBS.
Fox. I like that. Yeah, I do wish like Tom could make shows like this. I would just love for him to hang out even for like 10, 20 minutes to talk about these films.
Son of a gun.
My song? Why are you being mean to me? I'm nice to you, Eclay.
A solid one.
At least it's solid. I mean,
Yeah.
he could say, I give it a 1 because I can't give 0. So go with it. People do that on reviews. But he said I have to give it 1 star to write the review because it doesn't deserve any. So there you go. Take it.
But no, I'm curious if you guys like it. For real. Because I
Yes.
get emotional when I listen because I know what the words represent when I hear it. And the image of the first line of the chorus is a very Western image of the robes flowing as he's walking to face an enemy. And one of the demons is an old man with a crooked back that they have to face. This girl's so pretty. I've seen her in other stuff, and I can never remember where I've seen her
Yes.
from.
I've seen her in the girl on the train. Oh man. I can't
Oh,
remember.
yes. That's actually not. It's based on a book too. Not a bad film.
Yeah, it's a reimagining of Gaslighting, to be honest.
It is. It is. And
Oh,
it's
she
just
was
so.
in Hardcore Henry, the first person, the movie that was shot in first person.
Oh my God! Yeah, first person shooter. That was a fun film.
And
By the
she's
way-
in Magnificent Seven, his version of that as well.
Oh, the girl from the town. Yeah.
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 I think
The one
I
who-
think
who-
they're
She's the one who requested them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I
redhead-
liked that's Anton Fuqua. It's not the original film, and I don't want to compare it. It is just a reimagining of the film, and I still enjoyed it because he followed the beats. And because all of Magnificent Seven is a ripoff. They got sued for it, by the way, of the Seven Samurai. A lot of people don't know that there was a lawsuit, and Akira Kurosawa in the studio won, and that's
But
why
I'll
they
tell
get
you-
a credit now.
I'll tell
What?
you though, through watching The Magnificent Seven as a kid, being introduced to that and learning that it was a remake, that's what brought me to Kurosawa and Japanese films. And yeah, so-
It's exactly the
Good
same thing
gateway.
for me. Because when I found out The Magnificent Seven was a remake of a Japanese film by Akira Kurosawa, I'm like, well, who is Akira Kurosawa? So I went and I found a copy. I rented it, Laserdisc, by the way. This is back in the 80s. I worked a job where I didn't make very much money, but I wanted a Laserdisc player for Blade Runner and for The Thing, because they actually had commentary. Ridley Scott's commentary on one and John Carpenter and Kurt Russell on the other, which was, in my opinion, the single greatest commentary I've ever heard is on The Thing. I shit you not. The two of them talking about that film and filmmaking and actors was some of the best commentary I've ever heard in my life. By the way, this scene is absolutely the hallmark of the scene.
Can I go back to
Try
the
to
scene
replicate
before?
it. You know, he tries to rob because he's constantly timing himself,
Gary.
and because he's severely OCD, and so he goes to the door and he pulls an OCD thing, click, 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 where he has to lock, unlock, lock, unlock, lock, unlock 3 times. And I love that they threw that in.
We just skipped something important.
What's that?
What?
The
We didn't
red-haired
skip
girl.
anything. Bring it up. You're bringing it up.
I tried to. So he's at the hospital.
You're not trying to. You're doing it right now. Do it. Do it.
When he's at the hospital and he runs into that other girl who gets
And
the
she
coffee
tells him
over
all
her
that
hands.
stuff.
Yeah. Her meeting him, I think that is what leads to her being killed later.
It is.
Yeah.
It is exactly why she's
So
killed.
I didn't want to get over that. I needed to point that out because
No, it's a really that is a crucial moment in the movie because that is why she's murdered later.
she
And
is
her
so
murder
scared.
is not gory, but it's
No.
violent. And it's heartbreaking to watch because he chokes her to death puts her in a chokehold, one-arm chokehold
Mm.
with a
Yeah.
lock. And he
the
just
moment she knows
what you
that
do is
he's
you
not
roll your arm forward, and as you do your fist, you crush their windpipe.
at first he appears like a stranger who's helping her because she spilled the coffee. But then he asks her about the girl and he knows her name. And she's so scared. That very moment, she's so scared. She's
Yeah,
like,
she
"Oh,
thinks
fuck, I'm in
he's a
trouble."
thug from the Russians.
She doesn't know anything, but she's scared because he's a weird dude, a stranger, and he knows her name. So what the fuck? She is so scared. And then later she gets killed.
And it's one of the things you got to pick up when you're watching a film is both he and McCall are the flip sides of the same coin.
Mhm.
He is going to be facing somebody as dangerous as him, but he points out at the end who's better at what they do. But this scene alone, he goes into the room, he tries to bribe him, and the guy's like, that's like, a week or some shit like that, $9,000. That'll pay for
You
it for a
can't-
week.
You can't buy a girl for that money. Yeah.
And excuse me while I open the package. I got medicine.
Oh, we have
So-
unboxing.
I like this actor though who plays Slavy because I remember him from Justified. That's where I first remember seeing him when he was
Yeah.
he was one of the crows, I think, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great series that we're probably going to watch some of those, Anima, and do that series discussion. And then we can talk about the new series where he's now stationed in Florida. Because I
We're
really
going to
consider
need
it one
new
of the
series to talk about. So yeah.
Well, we're going to be talking Friday about one that you have fallen in love with now.
Oh, the old
And
man.
I
yeah.
love your reaction to it. The Old Man. And The Old Man is basically, because Keith and I talked about this last year, or 2 years ago. 2 years ago when the show came out, we explained to people that the show, we believe, was based off of the original script of John Wick. And John Wick was not what we ended up with in the film with Keanu. The original character was an older guy who is feeling the aches and pains of aging and is forced because of a situation. And I don't think it was the dog. I think there was another thing that ended up happening in the original script. And he has to come out of retirement and take on some very bad guys. And it was meant to show an older guy in his late 60s, possibly early 70s, doing action. And so they did that with this show. Now, I got to tell you, he's not a very good fighter, physical fighter, but he's very good at what he does. And
He has dogs.
his dogs are there to help him
Perfect henchman.
because he's old. So we'll be talking about that on Friday. I love that show.
Speaking of Keith, is he back from his road trip? Will he join
I
us?
have not heard from him. That's a lie, because I get his private messages, and he sent me one last night right before I went to bed.
I'm always hoping he joins.
I'm sorry,
but
I stand
TGIF
corrected.
because
I read it this morning because he sent it at 5:00, and I read it first thing this morning when I got up at 7. This is Wolverine co-creator Roy Thomas, which is absolutely wrong that he's getting credit for this. He did two things, and he thinks that somehow gives him the right to be a co-creator of Wolverine.
Look what Martine just said.
Hi,
Gary,
Lee
please.
Anthony. And by the way, Janet from Another Planet is here too. I saw that.
Hey, Janet. Please.
Hi, Janet. How you doing? I do believe I tag you with my music, Janet.
You're not getting away with this, Martine.
Wh- Fuck you, dude. You filthy bastard. So anyway, so Roy Thomas is a sore spot for both Keith and I. We talk about it quite often. That this guy reaching out, what it is, he waited till Stan Lee died to really push this, because he started talking about it years ago, but he was really kind of soft sell with it. Just here and there, you'd hear mention of it, and to the point where Stan Lee wasn't aware of it happening. And then he waits till he's dead, and then he goes into overdrive. Well, I'm a co-creator of Wolverine. I'm a co-creator, because I suggested that he should be Canadian. I suggested that he should be this. And that's not part of yes, you are an editorial aspect of it. No question about it. But the
You're not
creators are the
creating
guys
anything.
who first drew. And technically, if you go back, Wolverine was created by a fan. When because they Marvel used to publish a comic for the fans, and fan art was sent in for a character called Wolverine with claws in his fists. That was drawn way before it was eventually in the comics. The best version of Wolverine, in my opinion, is drawing wise in the comics was first John Byrne. I love Byrne's version. And two, my favorite was I forgot his name, Frank Miller. I loved Logan, the comic book. So Janet, I hope are you getting those when I tag? I think I tag you whenever I pop up one of my new songs. So, but anyway, this scene, let's get back to this ADD theater.
Squirrel.
He's trying his best to peacefully negotiate this. So he's willing to pay him $9,000. I'm sure he would have agreed to pay like maybe 5 installments. 5 installments, maybe over time is 50. It's basically $50,000 for this girl. And he's like, that's a week. That's what I'd make in a week off her. You think I'm gonna, and then he's just so condescending to him about it. And you think that he's sending him away with his tail between his legs. So he picks up the envelope. But they think that we, the audience, know you fucked up.
Yeah.
You fucked around and are about to find out. And so he goes to that door. And I want to show some of these clips, but this movie has soundtrack in almost every major scene. And so I can't do the clips because we will get claimed.
Well, you can mute it. There's not much talking in
We
that.
can't do it now. I just don't like doing that. I love this scene. I love the looks on all their faces. Like, yeah, that's right, motherfucker. Get out of here. And he goes to that door and he locks it 3 times. Once again, he studied his OCD. This is severe OCD. When you start doing that, I don't do that. I don't have those problems. But my OCD does manifest, and people catch it and they think it's funny when they see it. And I'm that OCD that has the problem with germs. I became a germaphobe because of OCD. Oh my God, he is gonna fuck these guys up, and he does. He kills every single character in here. My favorite thing is when he takes that one Russian down with a pistol, he shoots the guy right here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With the other guy's pistol while the other guy is holding it. And the main bad guy in the room. And he falls to the ground. And after he's taken everybody out, he checks his time because he's like, he mumbles to himself, 15 seconds.
19.
And was it 19 seconds?
Yeah,
And
he for a moment he feels bummed because, oh man, I wanted 16.
Yes, right?
yeah, but it ends up being 28 seconds. He's like, he went way longer, and he kind of criticizes himself, because we are all our own worst critics. I should have killed them faster. And
Yeah, but he has good
but
moves, and he's so fast. He is so fast. Then one
Yeah,
thing
and
when
he
he takes
did
the
it.
guy's gun away, Jesus, you barely see it. It's so fast.
My favorite kill was the shot glass.
Yes, to
Oh,
the
yeah.
eye.
That was so good.
That's good.
Shot glass to the fucking eye. And what people think, oh, well, he just blinded him. No, he pushed his part of his skull in, went
Yep.
into his frontal lobe.
When he kills the guy from Act of Valor, with the corkscrew,
Which is a
and
great film.
Which is a great movie, yeah. When he says, when he starts talking back to him in Russian, and he's like, "Fuck," and he just dies. He knows. Oh no!
Yeah, it's
we messed up.
serious.
The corkscrew
He's laying
is
there.
wonderful.
He's bleeding out. He says, "Yeah, you've lost a lot of blood from where I hit you," because he hit him right in the jugular.
Yeah.
And his brain, what it does is, this is what's going to kill him here, is even though his brain is dying, his heart's going to keep going. It takes 20 minutes in a bleed out like this for the body to die, but his brain dies very quickly. And that's when he says, your brain's going to shut down in a moment here, and you've got about 3 seconds or whatever he says to him. It's a great moment. And then you go POV from the guy as his eyes close.
Yeah.
And the last thing he sees is McCall looking down at him. Very calm, very resting bitch face.
Yeah.
And I just fucking love that dude. I really do. This is
And
just one of those moments in cinema history, one of the best killings in a film. Is
It also
this moment.
inspired you for a certain scene.
Absolutely.
Like,
This was 2014, right in the middle of doing Vindicated. And he does things that I felt Vindicated does. And I'm like, that's right. The Equalizer was like that. And so I went back to, and that's when I got a copy of the book. And I could have sworn the book was older than that. I love the book. And he wrote the book in a way, he said, with Denzel Washington in mind. And Denzel is kind of the character throughout the books. Oh, thank you.
For you, your dessert.
Oh, she got me desserts.
do you deserve that?
Well, I want to let you know, I talked really good about you today with the doctor.
Wow, how dare you?
I know. How dare. When I told her that I live with you and Brad, she's like, oh, that's wonderful. And I'm like, what? Why? Like, why would I was like, it's not that I don't agree with you, but why would you say that?
She likes me.
Oh, well, I could tell she did.
She's a good doctor.
She is. I had a great meeting with her, and officially at the end of our conversation, I said, "By the way, you're my new doctor." It was the last. That's what last thing I said to her. She's a good doctor, my new doctor. Holy crap! She listened to me. Yeah, I really like that. So that was Lauren, guys. My friend Lauren. You'll see every once in a while in the chat, or her arm come in.
It's
She
usually
pushes
your
away
arm
back.
coming because you have this weird background thing going on.
Well, these are shelves. The real
Yeah.
background is shelves, and you'll just see her arm putting something on the shelf
I
like
love
this.
it when we hang out and Gary goes to prepare food. He
Thank
turns
you.
around and then I see his hands reaching into nothing, grabbing
I
nothing.
no longer get them. I don't qualify
funny.
anymore.
Is this for me?
That is for you.
Look at this. She got me some 0 sugar caramel chocolate creamer. So you know what I'm going to do?
You put it in your jar.
I'm going to put it in my coffee right now. Because of her, I've actually learned to like cold coffee. I like it now. Whereas when I tried it before, I didn't. So anyway, Keith sent me a thing about Roy Thomas today.
All right,
And
Keith's private.
he had a long rant. He said, this mentioned articles written all the way back to 82, as well as in 1989, as Thomas' smoking gun, proving his view that he has been trying to sell his version of events for a while. And then he goes, 1999, I was around at that time that production of Bryan Singer's X-Men was started. 1982 was Wolverine was starting to become the phenomenon in the comics. Both years, as interest in the character was beginning to build, nothing like waiting until everyone else that was involved has passed away to emphasize that you didn't just co-create, but were the main person with the original idea. And that's what he's, you know what, if he was just trying to say that he was involved with it, we wouldn't have a problem with it. But he's trying to say that he is the main force behind the creation of Logan. And that's a fucking lie. Oh my God, this is going to be so good. Oh, iced coffee.
Nice.
Oh my God, that's so fucking good.
Iced coffee, man's best friend, iced coffee.
I never believed that until I got COVID and I started drinking it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. But this is the main villain of the story.
Oh, yes.
He looks like Adolf there, doesn't he?
He does. He's another chameleon, this actor.
One of those actors that really can go into a role. Here's another guy
Yeah.
that I'm iffy about sometimes, but I like it when he plays bad guys or crooked guys. He's a crooked CIA operative in James Bond, the first two films, which are the two that I like. I like Casino Royale, and I will argue to the death that I like the second film, Quantum of Solace.
Quantum of Solace. Yeah, I like it too.
Because it's really, that should have been the ending of the first film. And what it is, it's basically a 4-hour movie, 1 and 2. So the second film is a direct sequel, and it's everything in it is related to the first film. And they hadn't yet bought the rights back or gotten the rights back legally to Spectre. So Solace, Quantum of Solace, was supposed to represent that group. But then you find out in the next film, when they got the rights back, that it's actually Spectre.
Going back to David
this is
Harbour playing creeps, did you ever see a movie called A Walk Among the Tombstones with Liam Neeson?
Yes, because that is also the same character Jeff Bridges played years ago in 1,000 Ways to Die. And back in the 80s with, was it Rosanna Arquette? And Andy Garcia is the villain.
Andy Garcia, yeah.
Great film. Same character. Because it's based again on books. And I do know that these books were first because I read them. I got to tell you, man, I loved Walk Among Tombstones. Liam Neeson was very good in that role. And yes, he is once again a creepy character.
Yeah, he has that scene where they're negotiating to get the little girl back, and when Liam Neeson finally gets to them and he's found the girl because she's been taken, and she's got like a couple of fingers cut off, and David Harbour, just like calm as can be, is, oh yeah, well, we did that before the negotiations. He's just
you knew that motherfucker was
do
doomed.
Something. Yeah.
You knew that Liam Neeson was going to kill this guy. And that character is, by the way, a dry alcoholic. You learn in the books that that's really part of the drive of this character to do what he does, because he feels guilty over shit he did when he was a drunk cop. And he's trying to redeem himself through the books. Falls in love with a hooker who goes straight and ends up dying. And he is a broken human being. And that's what I love about a good hero. A good hero should be a little broken, and harbor a lot of self-guilt. But Harbour in this plays a cop who maybe at one time was good at his job, because he says it in the film. I was a good cop. But he went the wrong way one day, and that's what he's paying for. But it's also because he was a good cop that he doesn't die in this film. Denzel spares him. He sends his ass to prison, helps send him to prison. The cops do it. Clearly, the feds are going to go after him too, because he's involved with international crime. So he'll get hit by the Boston court system, their Pennsylvania court system, Massachusetts court system, and he's going to get hit by federal charges too. You know that by the end of the film, if you know anything about law. So I always get iced coffee. I don't really care for regular. It's funny. I won't drink coffee during the summer because it's just not a summer drink for me. I like everything cold. And so I tried recently when I got sick, some iced coffee that Lauren had because she won't drink it. It was triple shot Starbucks in a can. And we need to loop that somehow, make a video of that me doing that way. In a can. I think that'd be funny. What do you think, Martin?
Yeah.
In a can. There, we can do it now. So every once in a while play it. So this scene is so good. God. I love this character. He's always helping people. It's like, where is he? So he finds out that he had to skip work that day and training because he has to help his mom, and the mom is being rousted by crooked cops. And that pisses Denzel off. Corrupt cops. Because his character, just like in the book, just like in the original TV series, he works directly with the cops. They know who he is. And I mean, he was constantly being threatened. You better not be involved with this, cop would say, investigating the crime. Because he was kind of like a detective that did more than just detect. He would directly involve himself. This shot reminds me of a scene from Tony Scott's Burning Man, Under That Bridge. You guys know the scene I'm talking about. Where he puts the explosive up that corrupt cop's ass.
Oh, yes.
What's your last thing? And he's
That's
like,
it.
there's nothing I can give you a lot of meals. Well, that's it. You're running out of time.
No, it says,
I wish you had more time.
Yeah. But going back to what you were just saying, Gary,
Irish mob scene. I'm sorry.
I like
hold on,
these movies. That's why I like these movies, despite the changes that are made, because the themes are still there. McCall as a character is still there. I could see Edward Woodward doing
he's still
exactly
Robert
what
McCall.
Denzel does here. Yeah,
Absolutely.
he's 100% McCall.
There are several direct homages to the original series in the film, and I deeply appreciate it. In fact, the final scene is a direct homage to the original series.
Mm-hmm.
You know the scene I'm talking about.
Indeed, yeah.
Where he's on the laptop.
He's actually typing up that famous article.
Instead of using a newspaper, he's using a website, and I think that's brilliant. They updated the film to show what he would do. He would put an ad in it was New York in the original.
Mm-hmm.
And this scene is so good because he's talking to this Irish mobster, and the guy's like, "Fuck you," who are you talking to? And I heard Anima go, "Oh no, oh," because he kind of curb stomps him at a certain point because he knocks him backward in the seat, just beats the shit out of him, then gets up and begins stomping and kicking him. And it's when he stomps him, I heard Anima go, "Oh no."
But I hate it when they beat a person's face and just don't stop, and then the person is on the ground and their face is smashed to fucking pulp, and then they stomp on it with their foot. I'm like, dude, you're overdoing it.
Yeah.
Again,
I just so you guys know, I enjoy the auditory sounds of her react to scenes I really love.
Fuck you.
When she reacts to it, it's fun. So to put it, because I don't think the sideshow really emphasizes the minute he hit that guy, David, the corrupt cop, turns and shoots the other two guys in the room and kills them, and then looks to see if there's anybody else coming in, because now he is involved in the murder and cover up of those murders. And he's like, he's like, you just created a shitstorm doing this and put me in a spot. And he says, that guy doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care what spot that guy's in. So here we go. Faulty wire. There was a fire, and McCall's not buying it. He knows something's up here. And so he wants to help him and his mom, who owns this
That
restaurant.
guy was so on fire about becoming a security, and I was like, yeah, giving up. I'll never make it. And
Here it is.
Nah. He wanted.
Here's her death
Something's
scene.
wrong here.
Yes, I know. So here's her death scene. It's rough, even though it's not overly violent, and it's not like bloody. It's just brutal to
but
choke
at first when
somebody
he
to
moves
death with your
in,
arm.
you're thinking he's going to do shit to her, and then he's just killing her.
Yeah, because he talks about how beautiful she is.
Yeah.
And he
she's
puts
like,
his
no,
arm
no,
around
and you
her.
think, yeah, this is going to happen, and then he just ends her. Just for talking to that dude. She did nothing wrong. And I mean, strictly speaking, she's giving him valid information here. And what's her thank you? Getting killed.
I redid my audio settings. Can you hear anything in the background now?
No.
So,
but you're out of sync, kind of.
Well, that's because I'm sick. So the video, because I'm sick, will be slightly off from my talking because I'm sick.
What?
Right.
I love the shot here of the tattoos showing, he is definitely deep into the Russian mob.
Right.
Which my other favorite Russian mob film is the Viggo Mortensen, David Cronenberg film.
Yeah. Eastern Promises. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to get her to see that one. I have it on my list. I have these on my hard drive, and they're just films I just love to go back to every once in a while.
Is she going to like it?
Oh, you're going to like it, but you're going to be really freaked out by the bathroom fight scene, the Russian bathhouse fight scene, because they're naked with blades.
Wait, you showed me that already.
I showed you a clip. That movie, because the reason I show her clips, guys, is to ease her into the violence and gore of a film, so it doesn't shock her later. It's a psychological thing. She caught me doing it. She goes, "I know what you're doing when you do that." Of
course, I caught you. I'm not stupid, you idiot.
I know that. That's why I love you.
Do you remember what I said after you showed me that scene?
No.
I said, "I'm so glad I'm not a guy."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't hide it. Dicks are flopping around and those fucking knives are going. A straight edge razor. It's like that is this is what Cronenberg does. He does body horror. He's best at body horror. His whole career has been on body horror. And that was his body horror scene in that film. Because every guy in the world reacted to seeing a guy slashing a blade and their dork hanging out. It's just scary as shit. Yeah, this is where he confronts those two corrupt cops.
Yeah,
and then tells them, and he's. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. This is the scene that proves my theory that every movie that takes place in Boston must have at least one Wahlberg in it.
When what?
Because one of the corrupt cops is Robert Wahlberg, who's the brother of Donnie and Mark.
Mark.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the
Donnie, by the way, is leaving.
Yeah, I'm there.
Donnie's leaving.
Leaving what? Oh.
He's leaving.
Well, that's ending anyway, isn't it?
Well, I'm not sure what's going on, but he's leaving early in the show. I haven't been keeping up with this latest, the last two seasons. I missed a lot. Yeah, here's her death scene. I made a mistake earlier. This is it. And that's it. She lied to him. And he caught her in the lie. And it's not just because she talked to him, it's because she intentionally and knowingly gave him misinformation.
Yeah, because she thought she was saving her friend some trouble because that dude knew her. She just wanted to cover her friend. And it's costing her her life.
She really looks like a Russian girl.
Sorry, coughing fit.
Do Russians have redheads? I know
Yeah.
Asians and Balkan people, they have blue-eyed red-haired guys.
They're Vikings that went over to Russia. Absolutely.
But Viking was a profession, not a people. But I knew they had blondes. Of course they have
The
blondes.
Norse.
Russians.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, Viking was a profession. Look it up.
Yeah, it means
Was a job.
pirate. I know what it means. That's why I said Norse. I corrected it, but everybody knows what I mean when I say Viking.
I just didn't know that
sometimes
the
when you do that,
stretched into Russia. That's all.
You kind of remind me of this friend of mine when you do that. It reminds me, because I would say, well, that's a flat. That's a whatever, E or, and then he would go, well, actually, technically, that's a sharp. Because he'll go up the scale and say that's actually a sharp. And I'm like, no, because I'm like, fuck you. And I get aggravated with him when they would do that. Because it's both. It's both. But it's, it's like, okay, I'll just say the word. It's very snobbish to do that. So you're a snob sometimes, baby. I love you, but you're a snob, is what I'm saying. It's like when you criticize the way I pronounce a foreign thing, and I'm like, that's the way Americans are taught to say it. Like, but that's not it. And I'll go, oh my God, you're such a word snob. And I think that's one of the most endearing things about you, as much as it'll frustrate me.
I stand by it. I'm still hoping you might care a little bit to learn about pronouncing things correctly. Now you have the opportunity, but that's just me.
What's my response? I'm American. That's why I say it that way, and it's never changing.
That's
because we're proud of
great response. Yeah, like
that we are aware of things.
I'm doing it this way.
It shows that we know these things, but Americans should never really give a shit, and that's part of what we are. It's just what we are. We don't give a shit. It's like we're not.
Yeah, but you get in a hissy fit when other people.
Let's not go there, Martine. Let's just not go there, please. Moving on with the movie.
Okay, let's talk. When
you need to stop.
Oh my goodness!
Slideshow. We're never going to finish this.
Let her finish. Let him finish. Martin wanted to say something.
Yeah, when we non-Americans cannot pronounce it right or say it right, you get in a hissy fit.
I don't.
Not all of you. You particularly don't. But
I never don't. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I mean, just convey an idea to me is all I give a shit about. I want to understand what you're talking about. Enunciation means nothing to me because it really doesn't matter in the long run. And I that's why I compliment you. I'm like, I tell you all the time, your English is very good. I know you stutter and stammer, but you really are very clear-spoken dude. And
no, my English is shit. My wife's English, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've talked to her. She's she's definitely better at English than you. She really is. Mildred is wonderful, by the way, guys. You guys have never met her, and I would love to have her on the show sometime so people can meet your wife. She is such a wonderful person.
she is.
You're like me. You absolutely met the right person for you. And you can tell her I said that. You met the right person for you. I paused here because this is resting bitch face. Scary fucking Denzel Washington. Because that is almost a sociopathic look. Because I've seen sociopaths. I've served with sociopaths. And they can be funny. They can be endearing. But when you see them in combat mode, That's it right there.
We have D-Bud here.
Look, D-Bud, we tried to do it, and the audience demanded we go to the movie. I'm sorry, man.
That show does not exist. There is no Queen Latifah Equalizer. There's no such thing. It's all in your mind.
Yeah,
No,
that's right.
You need professional help.
No, that is the wrong position, because if you forget the past, you're doomed to repeat it.
That's right. That's right. Your English is a lot better than my Spanish, Martin, from Redshirt. I think because you're actually, if you're not aware of this, you are beloved by Midnight's Edge and some of the other shows. They really know who you are and they talk about you. That's why when I bring you up, they will have conversations about you. Because I, you went from not knowing shit to doing just an amazing job on this channel. Yes, you still don't do clips. I don't care. I don't care. You do so much for us, and it is recognized what you do.
Dude, he's doing a
deeply
slideshow for
appreciate it.
the old man. He is somehow getting 7 hours worth of the old man into a slideshow.
That was a surprise. I
show.
told you not to tell him.
I was wondering if you were going to do it. I really was.
I think it's awesome.
I started thinking, I wonder if he's going to do a slideshow, because I know how I would do it. I would actually just grab about 5 scenes, maybe 6 scenes from an episode, and create a slideshow for that episode, and then do a long episode, each one with several scenes. Oh, thank you. Look at that. I got chicken.
Yeah, he's not
Chicken.
living here at all.
No. Thank you so much, Lauren. And I have that yum yum sauce. If you guys have never had it, I found that that Hughes guy that makes the sugar-free sauces. He has a yum yum sauce, and I mean, it's amazing. Here you get to see a few moments, and it's actually when they go into his apartment is when you learn there are 2 apartments identical. He has 2 apartments.
Yeah,
And they
even
go
though
into the apartment he's not in. And he
doing
gets one
stuff.
video.
He has
He-
to
when
wander
he
around.
walks
There's
by
noise
them-
going on, but he knows what's going on out there.
Yeah, when he kills that
knows they're
Russian in the cafe and then knocks out the lights by taking it's because he has the handle. He's holding the plastic handle and he shoves it into the outlet, knocks out all the lights,
Oh,
then
yeah,
goes
that
out there
was
in the
pretty cool.
street. And as he's walking by, he's just casually like you can see the flash going as he's taking photos of.
Is it?
I'm
Yeah,
just
he's-
telling you, I love this fucking movie.
This scene is awesome. I love how they step on each other's lies.
Yeah, because
Well,
as soon as
they
the
know.
Russian catches him in something that could be potentially a lie, he comes up with a perfect response. I paid cash, no reservation. How do you find me? This is great stuff.
Because
And
they know at
I
that
love
point,
when he
don't they?
walks away. He says, "Aren't you going to leave me your card?" Cops
Yeah, he
always leave
calls him
cards.
out.
He goes, I gave them all out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
sure, whatever.
He immediately
both
knows
of
he's
them
a dirty
know.
Mhm.
Both of them know
Yeah.
who they are. They both know. He knows you're the guy I'm up against, and he knows you're the guy I'm up against. In this
Because
scene.
operators at their level, they're going to know. They're going
Yeah,
to
and I'm going to
recognize
say
each
right
other.
now, this is not a cat and mouse situation here. This is
No.
cat versus cat
Yeah.
scene where they're waiting for their moment to strike. And once again, I want to point out, I watch a lot of cat videos. I fucking love cat videos. I live with cats. They're not mine. They're Lauren's and Brad's. But I live with a lot of cats. I like cats.
But
And
he still gets annoyed.
I've got
with
all
them.
these cats around me. And what am I doing? I'm watching cat videos.
I do that.
Yeah.
You know, I've
I'm
been
cheating on the
domesticating.
cats.
I've been domesticating a feral cat, and even though I do everything I can to treat this cat like a house cat, every morning I will go outside and there will be a dead mouse on my step.
Yeah, he reminds you.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
I had a cat, indoor cat.
Not only that, the cat is insulting you. He's telling you, you're so idiot you cannot catch your own mouse.
You're a
so
shitty hunter. Yeah, that's why they
Yes.
leave you that prey. You too
I had a
stupid
cat
hunt for yourself.
that when I was with Patty, because I'm still close friends with her, she's the only ex that I have that I stayed close friends with because she's an awesome person. She inspired me so much in my life. And when you meet somebody like that and you have a relationship with them, and the relationship doesn't work, but the friendship does, and she just reminds me of all the good things she directed me towards. And we lived together, and we had one cat. His name was Beaker. He was not named after the Muppet. He was from a litter of cats that I almost accidentally killed with a lawnmower. They were in a gutter, living in a pipe, and the mom had already abandoned them, so they were old enough to not need mom anymore. And mom may have been killed too, because it was a road, an old country road I lived on. And I was mowing the lawn, and I went down, and there was a bunch of ivy right there, and I go to lower the lawnmower there to just cut it all up, and I saw one tail pop up, and I lifted that lawnmower and I threw it through the air behind me. I didn't care if I broke it. I was not going to kill a fucking cat. And I found a litter of just beautiful kittens. They're gorgeous. They didn't have filthy eyes. They looked healthy. This is a great scene too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this scene. And anyway, so I gave them all away to homes, but this one cat I didn't want to give away. I don't know what it was about this cat. And it grew up and it ended up being very dog-like because he lived with my 3 dogs, our 3 dogs. And those 3 dogs had an impact on that cat and how it played. It played like a dog. But in turn, the dogs learned the back kick when they would play, and they would kick with their back paws because of the cat. But when he sat down, he was straight down and then turned into a triangle, which is a beaker. And that's why I named it Beaker. And I believe that you should not just give a cat a name right when they're born. You should get to know the cat and name the cat based off his personality. Cats, that get named human names. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Anima. I'm like, don't do that. Like Lauren gives the cats really crazy names, and I like it. My favorite name is Loki, which is Anima's little boy cat, who's been having medical problems, but he's outlived what the doctors suspected. So he's proven the doctors wrong.
The shitty doctors,
Because
at least.
I was preparing you for him to die because I thought that this is it. Because what they described, and I'm like, yeah, this is going to work. But he proved them wrong, and then that's when I said that what's going on with him is being caused by something specific, and it's not his body doing this; it's something else causes. And I do believe it's some medication.
Well,
But he needs that medication. He needs it.
The thing is, they don't care because we reported back that he's still having problems with the fluid in his stomach, and they were like, "Oh, he's still alive! Wow, we
Yeah.
sent him home to die."
And
2
I'm
months
so
ago."
glad
Well,
'cause
there's
I really
nothing
thought-
we can do. They don't care.
'Cause
They
he's
don't
11
fucking care.
years
They're done
old.
with him. He's 13.
He's 11 or 13. 13. I
That's
thought he was
not
11.
that's not that old for an indoor cat.
Well, no, because indoor cats often
They-
live to 18 to 20 something.
20.
And I've known a
The
lot of them
oldest
because
the oldest my doctor had was 24. So 30 is nothing.
Red Shirt, I love cat videos. They crack me up. But I also love dog videos. I watch the crap out of. And you know what? I'm not a big fan
Well,
of trash
animal
pandas.
videos,
I'm
not just
really
cats and
not
dogs.
a big fan of trash pandas. I'm not. But I love the videos with them. They crack me up.
They're cute.
I don't like when they go feral and get rabies. That one where that mom and daughter got attacked on their porch by
That's
a
never
rabid
fun.
raccoon. That's scary.
Rabies
But
is
I've
scary.
dealt with raccoons, and I got to be honest. I think they're funny as shit. I would go camping and give them Cheetos, and then they would go to wash their food, and you could hear them down by the creek getting angry. They're chattering really loud
Because the Cheetos dissolve.
because the Cheetos dissolved with the minute they hit the water. And they're like, "What
Oh,
the
it's
fuck?" You know, that's what you're hearing is "What the fuck" in raccoon.
You shouldn't give animals crap food.
Oh,
yeah.
you can give trash pandas whatever because they eat garbage to begin with. So giving them Cheetos at least has some nutritional value.
No. Doesn't.
This is where I
Cheetos
love what he
doesn't have
does here.
nutritional value.
He creates molten honey to seal his gun wound.
Yeah, and he has
And that
noise going
is-
on. He has the water running, and you're like, there's no way he can know that they are outside his apartment. But oh, he knows.
But they're
he
not.
disappears just at the right moment.
Well,
Also,
that's
they
not
have
his
run
apartment.
Yeah,
He,
but
he's in a
so
different
aware of what
apartment.
they're doing.
What it is they're showing he's not just aware, he's ahead of them.
Yes.
He's
For
ahead
real.
of them in the game because he's done this before. And by the way, Red Shirt cat videos I fucking love them, dude. I'm serious.
But-
I can just sit and watch cats because
But
they're
he-
very relaxing.
The fact is, they enter the apartment where he's not, and the water's running. So I'm like, is he really, or did he just change apartments real quick? Why is the
No,
water running?
he did that on
when he hasn't
purpose.
been
No,
there?
he left it running. He's in a different apartment where he can actually watch them. So they're looking for any information about him in this apartment.
Good luck.
And I like that he points out at the end of this scene, he's watching us. He's watching us right now. So
Oh,
I love that this villain understands McCall and he's trying to up his game to deal with him. And he's still getting snagged by McCall because he's better at this than the Russian. But the Russian doesn't know that yet.
the Russian just
Hi,
thinks
Kim
he's
Kim.
so superior, and it's going to beat his ass.
Well, the problem with Teddy is that he spent too much time working for guys like Pushkin, and he's just used to everybody, like they say in that
You get lazy.
that comedy.
get
He
lazy.
gets lazy. He has gotten complacent because he's used to everybody being frightened of him.
Yep.
He doesn't hear no. He's surrounded by yes men now.
Well,
Yeah.
especially
Like-
Pushkin,
like
he's
the
so out of
cops.
touch. He doesn't know how things work anymore. He's so
No.
far above that when he's finally confronted, he's like, "Oh fuck, what do I do?"
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Just to let you know, at some point in the last few minutes, Martin had to go away. And I'm just letting the audience know. He's back now. It's important to know he's back.
And
You
I
used
like
to do
this.
that at the end of the show, Gary, when you went through the list and read all the private messages in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this scene, and not just because they work Control back into, even though she's gender flipped. I like the fact that they bring Control back into it. And not only that, you get to see Bill Pullman, which is always good. And you also have Melissa Leo, who actually guest starred in the original series.
In the
So
original
it's like cool
series,
that they got that
there's
they brought
that
somebody
connection.
back. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that too. But her character is gender flipped from the series. And but I'm glad because I think she does a really good job as the character.
She
Characters
does,
like
yeah.
that aren't as important if they do stuff like that. If they gender flip McCall, there's a problem. With this character,
Yeah.
no problem.
Didn't bother me
Because
at
this
all.
is a support character. It's not a lead character, main character. This is a side character that plays a great role. And what we're looking here, and I love the way the scene ends, but when she's talking to her husband, because these two served with him in the CIA.
Mhm.
They have a long relationship with this guy. And it's like, right here, it's like, he's like, he came here for this, after he leaves.
Well, he was officially.
Oh yeah, I
dead
love the
before
comment
the
about it because
funeral.
he faked
Yeah.
his own death. He faked his own death and had a
And
funeral.
she always had a feeling that he's not gone. He's still here. This is a fake.
Yeah.
So when he finally comes back, she's like, I knew it. And I don't think her husband was in on it. He was just glad that it turned out that way.
But when she and he are talking at the end, Bill Pullman and her, and right after this scene, this is where she comes back with the intel. This is,
Yeah.
There's not one weak scene in this film. Not one.
No,
Nope.
not one.
That's the first time you see the main bad guy.
Mhm.
He's not important to the film until the end.
And then you see him and you're kind of like, this is it? This is the main bad guy? Okay.
Now, this is something that will resonate that in Vindicated, in the preamble that I wrote, for him because he sends a letter out, a message out to the city because he's now everybody knows who he is. There are those who root for him. There are those who say he's just violent. Call the lefties hate that shit. He's just violent. We need to stop him. He's a criminal. He does the same thing that Equalizer does, and it may be because of the series, not the film. I think it may be in my head because of the series, because I love that, is that he makes it understood that the only way to stop real crime, the real dangerous shit going on in that town, is to work your way up. He refers to it as, I have to find a vein and work my way until I find the heart. And I have to surgically cut the heart out. And that's how he terms it about what he has to do. And it's very similar to what he's doing in this film. And I can say that I actually wrote that before seeing the film. But this film did have an impact on the way my character, John Russell, does what he does. And in fact, one of the things that gives away who he is to one of the bad guys who knew him before in my story is he uses a specific form of martial art called Krav Maga in some of his close quarter combat. And when he is caught on video, security video, by the bad guys, the main villain says, I know who that is. I know what he's doing. Because he mixes jujitsu and Krav Maga in his fighting. No taekwondo, no high kicks, because he learned what I learned in fighting, which is when you throw a kick, it's for the lower body. Hands are for the upper body. Oh, man. He is really good in this film. I don't like him as a person, but I love his acting.
Who?
David here. I forget his
Yeah.
last name. He's a very good fucking actor. He's really, in my opinion, what made the show so fucking good. Because David Harbour, it's Harbour, right? Harbour.
Yes.
Playing the sheriff and the father figure in the show, just fucking brilliant. And he actually put on some body mass when he started doing the comic book shit. This is great. He gets trapped in his car, can't get out, with smoke from the exhaust going in there. So that's how he tortures him here. Puts him in that car, breaks the lock system so he can't open the doors.
Well, he pulls down the window occasionally to talk to him and to prolong it. And
He
then
does,
at some point he
yeah.
walks away, and you're like, is he going to leave him to
I'll
die?
be
And
back.
then yeah, and then they cut to
Because
the
that's what
scene
I
where-
thought was going to happen. I thought he was going to kill him.
Me too. Me too.
But then he doesn't. He ends up like, it's just, I really love this scene because it shows that
Remember-
he will torture people.
when he says,
He
I'll
will
be back,
torture.
I'm like, did he just walk away to let him die? And Gary was like, watch it. And next
Yeah,
moment,
keep watching
they walk into
because
that warehouse.
you do expect that. You do. You expect him to
Absolutely.
just leave him to die.
Because he's
Yeah,
so
but he
stubborn.
needs him to get into the warehouse though, so
I know,
he can't
but
kill
the
him.
guy is so stubborn. You kind of expect the Equalizer to think like, yeah, I'm done.
And by the way, this scene is the transition from second act to third act. This scene.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I like the way it's written. It is designed specifically to move the story forward without that feeling of Deus ex machina, where the storyteller inserts themselves in there and pushes the story forward through narration
Lazy.
or dialogue. And I hate that. This
so
is a
lazy.
scene that transitions us perfectly into the third and final act. Because this is the build-up. Absolutely Daniel's Hot Topics. Absolutely one of my favorite films of all time. And I will put Fuqua as one of my top 20 favorite directors of all time. Half of the directors I like are dead now. They died in the 80s and early 90s. Billy Wilder, William Wyler, John Ford, who died in 1960s. Well, Edward Woodwardly also played the same character with a different name on another British series, and so the Equalizer was said to be that same character in retirement.
That
Sort
was
of like Danger
Wait,
Man became the prisoner.
wasn't the Equalizer an American series?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And there was no British Equalizer. I see what you're saying. Equalizer was an American production, but they did release it over in England because Woodward is a popular actor over there in the UK. And again, I want to point out he's in one of my favorite horror films of all time with Christopher Lee called The Wicker Man. Not the one with Nicolas Cage. It was garbage. The original Wicker Man is a great fucking film. And it's psychological horror more than anything. Because this guy has no idea. Woodward's character is a cop there investigating a crime. Has no idea that he's a target. He's the target. I love this scene with all the money, man.
Yeah.
I really, really do. Because he walks in here, takes the gun from the bad guy. The guy, he says, I'd like to see your gun. Well, I do and don't. Meaning I don't want it pointed at me. But the guy points it at him and he takes it away from him. And it's a move I told Anima I will show her one day. Because I can absolutely do that move as fast as he does there. I can disarm somebody.
Oh, that was fucking fast. That was so impressive.
I warned a cop friend of mine once. I got to tell this real quick. This cop buddy of mine, when I was a paramedic, he was working EMS part-time and he was a cop full-time. And it was to make extra money. And he didn't believe that I could disarm him with a broken broomstick before he could squeeze the trigger on his pistol. And he carried a Glock 17, as I recall. It was a 17 or a 19, I can't remember. But I told him, I said, put a rug down. And so they put like a bunch of rugs around us. And I told him, don't put it on this side, put it over here, because that's where the gun's going to go when I do this. And I was 10 feet from him because he could not believe that I can close the distance and disarm him within 10 feet. And I said, absolutely, I can do it. And before you can react to what I'm doing and squeeze the trigger. And he's like, no fucking way. So I went and I took an industrial broomstick, broke it in half, and using the soft ends, the smooth ends. I didn't want to use the jagged ends because I could have cut them with them. And I held on to the jagged ends. And it's basically arnis eskrima, Filipino stick fighting. And so I got in a position and he drew his weapon, no rounds in it. It was checked. I checked it before he did. And he was going to dry fire this pistol, which is really not good. But it's okay. He didn't. He was going to try to dry fire. And it never happened because I broke his hand. I didn't want to. It wasn't intentional. But I broke his hand and the gun went flying and landed on the carpet and saved it from being damaged. And he learned a powerful lesson that there is an area, and cops now are taught this, that you keep whoever that is that's a risk 10 to 15 feet, preferred 15 feet for reaction time to draw or fire your weapon. And that guy ended up getting us in trouble as paramedics. That's another story for another day. We got serious, like we could have gotten in like big legal trouble because we went on a Federal Reserve armed at a camp out, and an incident took place there with this guy, and we ended up being involved with the rescue of a woman and a child from their abusive father-husband. And weapons were drawn and scared the shit out of that guy. And this cop, paramedic buddy of mine, called that show 911 with Shatner to recommend talking about this. And it got back to our captain because they were contacted. And they were fucking angry that we went on an official camp out with the company and went onto a Federal Reserve with fucking weapons. And absolutely, we could have gone to jail for that. Thank God we didn't. But we did rescue that woman and her kid. Kid wasn't there. He was inside the camper. The mom was the one who was in immediate danger when we showed up because we could hear them. Her screams. I will not say what park it was. I will not name any names because I don't know if there's like a statute of limitation on that. What we did. I love the way he took the weapon from him very calmly. Like, tell everybody put their weapons down. Put their weapons down. And then everybody's going home. Go home, and he just gives them a bundle of money each. Here you go. Take this. They want you to have this.
Oh, that was awesome. He thanked everybody for their work and just gave them bundles of money, and they were happy to take it. They were just doing a job.
Hell
They were
yeah.
not involved with all the shit that was going on. They were
That's
just doing their job.
that's the one. Put it back up. That's the one. Callum.
Yeah.
That's the
Callum.
character is said to, just like with the prisoner is, believed to be Danger Man. Callum is believed to be this character in this. Yeah, they believe that because he plays the character exactly the same. He plays Callum and Robert McCall exactly the same nuances, everything. And so I think secretly it was a sequel to the Callum. And I don't know if it was a series, but I do know that it was a series of films or if the films were made from the series. This is great. He's leaving him there handcuffed. He says, "You're killing me. I was a fucking good cop. Do the right thing." That's all he says to him. Do the right thing.
Oh, dude, the best thing is when they walk into that freezer hall and they sit there all lined up with their hands and feet tied together and all the money neatly stacked. I love that.
Now, here's one for the deep fans. Is he saying do the right thing to the cop for doing the right thing, or is he just saying the name of a movie that he was in with Spike Lee? It's just the title of a film. Doesn't really mean anything.
For a moment there, I was thinking you were doing something serious.
Oh.
No.
Stop thinking, Matinee.
Come
You
on,
get a
dude.
headache.
Yeah, come on. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
So we see the cops there and the feds, and he goes into custody. It's the last you see of David Harbour.
Mm-hmm.
This scene where they open that thing and you see the pallets of those, that's all money. And the camera goes in, you see it's sort of like Indiana Jones, at the end of Indiana Jones. Oh, this is good. This is another confrontation moment. This is where he poses the question, look at me. What do you see?
Now, the story that he tells to Teddy here, there seems to be a back and forth on this, depending on the opinions of whoever sees the movie. Is he talking about Teddy, or is this the story he's making up?
No, he's
because
Teddy.
I think, I agree, but I was wondering, the panel opinion.
Yeah, you're devil's advocating it. Yeah, I get you.
By the way, that was the scene I mentioned earlier where the dude gets up
The
to go to
glasses?
sleep, and he comes back, smashes the glasses, the bloody glasses on the table.
Yeah,
says,
he's,
"He ain't coming back."
he's
And
not coming back.
You know
that
what
was
happened.
awesome.
And you don't need to see anything. You see the
No.
cracked glasses and the blood on it, and you know it was fucking brutal. And that's
Look,
okay.
it's like when that guy robbed the store and took his friend's
Oh, the
ring,
yeah.
and then
He
you
takes
only
he
see
takes
him.
the hammer,
Oh,
yeah.
he picks a hammer, and then the ring appears, and he's cleaning the hammer.
Have And pushing his
Oh,
back. I love that, and that's the same with his backstory. You
Mhm.
don't learn his backstory, and it's not important. You know where he comes from.
Yeah.
They drop enough hints, and I
Yeah, and
love it
that's
because
foreshadowing for later too. So
it is, but it also lets you know that the makers of the movie, they know the audience is intelligent and capable of thinking. So you don't need to
Yeah.
be served everything on a silver tray. We're dropping hints, and that's okay. You figure it out. You know enough. I like that because I get offended when they make it too simple. I'm like, come on, I can add
Mhm.
2 and 2. And no, it's 4. Don't do that. So with this movie, you still have to do a little thinking, but you get all the information you need. And I can't wait for the final scene in that warehouse. Ah,
yeah.
it was so good.
And I don't know what it is, but that guy reminds me of somebody, and I can't figure out who the fuck he reminds me of.
Yeah, I first remember seeing him in that
yes,
movie,
I
The
know
Great
who.
Raid.
I know who reminds you of. It reminds you of Kevin Spacey.
That's it. Thank
In
you.
this, yeah, definitely in this, yeah.
He has that same look in his face, the way his eyes are. It's his eyes. He reminds me physically of Kevin Spacey. Thank you, because I couldn't
You're
place
welcome.
who is it that he's making me see. I see somebody that I know.
And another thing that happens in that scene is that that's when you start to see the rift between Teddy and Pushkin, because that's the first time he hangs up on Pushkin and doesn't accept his call.
Yeah, in a way, what he's telling you is he's not important
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
You're already finished. You just don't know it. And I love that. By the way, I want to show you guys something real quick. This is it. This is G uses sugar-free yum yum sauce. And what it is basically it's similar to the sauce that McDonald's puts on your Big Mac. It just doesn't have relish in it, which there's relish in Mac sauce. We learned how to make it when I worked at McDonald's. There's no secret to it. You take all the sauces and you combine them in certain measurements that they use behind the grill to make Mac sauce.
Man, the guy blew up a tanker.
Now, I'm going to tell you, this is a badass scene, but there is an
Completely
explosion
unreal.
behind him.
Mhm.
It's unrealistic because you can see the CG, and it becomes almost like a
It
video
looks like
game.
a computer game. It
Yeah.
it does look like a computer game, but it's still good. It's fun to watch.
Because he's walking away from a giant explosion. And really, it does, because there is an explosion that happens behind him, but they CG the shit out of it.
And if there's an explosion like that, it's going to throw you forward. You're not walking away
Yep.
from that. It's knocking you over.
And the heat. People, most
Oh
of
yeah,
the time, they
Martine,
underestimate the heat.
he doesn't have hair that's going to burn from the heat. So
That's
Oh, well.
why that's why I like that scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, when he's training with the flamethrower. He said, "Can we turn down heat on this thing?" No.
You know
No,
that
Rick,
was
we
not in the
can't.
script. That's not in the script.
No, it's
That
not.
was actually him saying that, and
Yeah.
Tarantino loved it so much he put it in the movie.
Yeah.
That was actually DiCaprio saying that, and it's so funny when the guy says it's a flamethrower. Yeah. Wait. played John Steed, the series became the Avengers. That's right. And Michael Crawford had a cameo role as well. Yeah, a lot of people don't. They always think of Michael Crawford and connect him with Phantom of the Opera. The fact is, that guy had a career. I knew who he was because of the comic book movie he did back in the early '80s. He played a comic fiction, like not from any comic book, but he played a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
It was a comedy, by the way.
It did
He was in a
Jake
lot of
Speed or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. Good movie.
Police Surgeon, that reminds me of one of my favorite shows, which was Quincy, Emmy. And he would solve crimes. Great show. I fucking love that show. Okay, here we go. Another good action scene. And the thing I want to point out about this, everything he kills these guys with is in the hardware store.
Imagine
he takes the safety feature off the nail gun, by the way.
Yeah.
Imagine Jason Bourne in a hardware store.
No, this is I don't think that's what's going on here. This is him showing them I'm better than you.
No. What I'm saying is, imagine putting Jason Bourne in a hardware store in a Bourne movie.
Yep, and also because you say Jason, he is basically Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers. He is the shit.
He even does.
This is a horror film for Russians. This is a
horror movie. Yeah, and when you get to the third movie, I consider the third movie a horror film. Straight up.
With the storm and everything.
Because of what he does. Yeah. And here he even does when he hangs the guy with the barbed wire. He even does that Michael Myers. He does the head tilt. He just kind of.
He does. It's just like that first time he kills one of the teenagers, sticks him to the wall with a knife through him, which is impossible. But he stands there and he just looks at him and goes, tilts his head to look at him at a different angle. That was fucking crazy.
And going into a little quick Halloween trivia, that character he sticks to the wall was originally going to be Dennis Quaid.
Oh.
But he had to back out of it because he was like on another film or something and couldn't get away.
So you could say this McCall is the original Baba Yaga.
I made that comparison before because he's the boogeyman, and they have a nickname for him. The Russians do. That is very similar to Baba Yaga. I love that.
My God, Condorman.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the one.
Almost
Condor
forgot
Man.
about that show.
Thank you, Lee.
The Condorman. Oh, what have you done to me? Now I'm doomed to look for that show.
Oh, Curtis Selby is here. Hey, Curtis. I consider one of the saddest moments in his film is when the kid sees him kill that dude through the window with the bullet holes in it. Watches him kill that Russian. A fucking drill.
Yeah. And great musical choice here too. The
Again,
Zach
why I couldn't do
Hemsey
Flip.
Vengeance. Yeah. Unfortunately, because we would get copyrighted all this shit for that. But
Every single great scene in this film had music in it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
God damn it. Qua, you asshole.
And Moby redoing the Joy Division song at the end too was another one. And
Not a
lot of
fan of
great-
Moby, but I do like that.
I like that, yeah. A lot of great musical moments in this. And I know there are some people who complained that this final sequence is too long. I don't think it is at all. I think it's perfect just as it is.
It is perfect. People have to find things to bitch about.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's too long. An
You know.
action scene is as long as it needs to be.
Yeah.
You don't dictate that.
But you got these kids these days, and they're hooked on TikTok, and everything's got to be now 30 seconds, boom, boom, boom. That's not what this movie is.
They used to complain about us because I'm assuming you are too, MTV generation.
Yeah.
I was a kid when MTV started. So
I don't like them to.
They were complaining that the MTV generation likes quick cuts. And it's not true.
I mean,
Nobody
where
likes quick cuts. Nobody. Only the directors.
Where did Fuqua get started? Music videos.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
By the way, he's been a executive producer for Mayor of Kingstown.
On the Terminal List.
Yeah. Well, he directed a couple of the Terminal List episodes, didn't he?
Absolutely. Yes, he did.
Because his style definitely shows on this. I haven't seen Mayor of Easttown yet, so I gotta. Oh, Kingstown.
It's got to be your
it?
cup of tea.
Yeah.
You might not enjoy it. I enjoy that kind of drama. Again, produced by and
Taylor
co-created
Sheridan.
by Taylor
Yeah.
Sheridan. Yeah. Terminal List, he got to direct one episode, and it was a good episode.
There are no bad episodes in Terminal List.
Well, it was the first episode. He directed episode 1. Solid beginning.
Very solid, yeah.
Yep. I'm going to point out some films that he's directed I really like. He directed a great little documentary, What's My Name? Muhammad Ali. That is a very good fucking film. All the Equalizers, of course. He also directed The Magnificent Seven. He directed a very good boxing film called Southpaw. He directed Olympus Has Fallen, which I think is an underappreciated action film.
I love that movie.
It was originally meant to be a Die Hard film. And you can feel the connection. I mean, him running around in a t-shirt. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but I have my problems with that film. For example,
he directed Shooter. Let me get through this list. I'm sorry, Martin. Then we'll come back to it. He did Shooter, The Call, a film I didn't like but enjoyed but didn't like is King Arthur, the one that came out in 2004. And here is the film that got me to be a fan: is Tears of the Sun with Bruce Willis. I love that fucking movie. I enjoyed Bait, despite the fact at that time not liking Fox as an actor.
I haven't seen Bait, but I freaking love Training Day.
Training Day is the next one. Absolutely a classic film. Now, this is where he kills the Russian. And the Russian knows he's fucking dead. And he's just standing over him, lording over him, and the kid sees him kill him. And again, guess what? He shoots him right here. The exact same kill, which is important because it's showing what he's actually doing. Twice he's done this in the film. And the kid sees it, and no matter how much he loves this guy, his impression of this character is altered permanently. He can't come back from that. And even though he can continue protecting him, his role in that guy's life is over. And it sucks.
Okay, we have the return of the true Lee Anthony Davis. He gave us one of his questions.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
He's back.
Yes.
I missed his questions.
Do you think Edward Woodward would have stood out better than Washington?
It would have been a
Lee
different film.
Yes.
It would have been a totally different film. Absolutely would have been great. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Because his would have been more about being cunning and less about physical ability.
Physical, yes. And Shinatsky. Oh, right.
That I did not know.
Oh,
but
yeah,
he
'cause
would
he
he would have
died.
been good. Yeah, he would have been good for that film. Yeah, and I like that he does what he says he's going to do. He goes after the head of the snake, and he works his way up to Pushkin. And I remembered, and I said it at the time when I first saw the movie. He's like, Vladimir Pushkin still lives. This is not acceptable.
By the way,
this
is my question for the panel. Do you know why he keeps turning on and off the light?
To fuck with him?
It is fucking with him, but there's a very
with his
small
vision.
reason.
Well, he's trying to draw him out.
No.
No,
With his vision.
No.
He makes
Martin's
himself
got it.
invisible.
It does fuck with his vision.
Because
yeah, okay.
every time you
All right.
turn on the light, it causes the
Yes.
iris to close.
Mhm.
And so when you turn
So
off
he-
the light, it's even darker.
He
for them.
won't see him in the
So,
dark.
so
yeah.
he can pull his Batman move.
He's
Yep.
fucking with his vision, yeah.
I think the moment for me that made that scene, I'm going to pause this for a second here.
Mhm.
What isn't what he does to that Russian by electrocuting is when he walks down the stairs, you see the signs of how he just murdered everybody in that house.
Everything.
Because there's blood everywhere with bodies laying there. He's just walking by him casually.
Yeah.
I fucking loved that moment. You didn't have to see the violence. It's almost kind of funny. Because I
the only
chuckled when I
issue
saw
I
it.
had was the screaming, because if you electrocute a guy like that,
Oh, you don't scream.
all his muscles are going to tense up and lock up, so you can't scream.
Having
There's no
been
way.
electrocuted, everything tightens up, and the only
Yep.
sound I can make was a and
You can't scream.
The most realistic electrocution I think I've seen in the film was in Pelham. The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, where he
Denzel's
he takes
version with
himself out.
Travolta.
No, the original with Mathau
Mathau.
and Robert Shaw. Yeah, because he
Remind
electrocutes
me.
himself at Robert Shaw
Oh.
electrocutes himself at the end. Remember, because he has the line, "You don't execute in New York anymore, do you?" Nah, we don't do that anymore. And he goes, "Pity," Bzz. You know, and he tenses up, like Anima said, and that's it. Yeah, that just reminded me.
Well, you
Go on.
see him being
Sorry.
electrocuted, and then you cut away and hear him scream, and I was like, yeah, no way. How would he scream?
No.
And
Yeah, that
I'm
that
sorry,
was
I can't not realize stuff like that. But it's still good.
Absolutely, Lee. He was playing Jake LaMotta, and what I don't like De Niro as a person, but I don't doubt his brilliance as an actor through his career. When he played Jake LaMotta, he put on the weight. He actually gained the weight, and he nailed playing that character. But I got to tell you, the best acting in that film is the guy who plays his brother.
Mhm.
Guys, you know who it is?
Joe Pesci.
The Utes. We need to do that movie because I love that. My Cousin Vinny. I love that movie. But yeah, there's a surrealist aspect to that. First of all, it's shot in black and white. which is meant to throw you off. If you didn't know that, it's not just meant to be trying to make it a period piece. There she is. And by the way, I got to tell you, throughout the film, some people have sexualized her, and I never have. I see her as a little girl still. I still have trouble
me
with that.
too.
I still see her as a little girl. And that's what I see her at in this film. And that's what makes her character so tragic to me, is that she's been sexualized by these Russians. And now we get to see her, and she's just a sweet girl, you know, that reads books and wants to be friends with him. God, I love the ending to this film. I really do. This scene and then the final scene. Because you think this is it. You see him walking away, and it's him walking away in the sunset, walking away from her. You think that's the end. No.
No.
You get another scene. You get one more scene. And that's the scene that connects to the series. Because there are little bits here and there of the character, and you can see, little nods to the original series of his skill set. But it's the final scene that connects it to the series.
Yeah, that is the scene in which he becomes finally the Equalizer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
this is almost a prequel film in a way.
Yeah.
It is.
Right. Yeah.
It is, because when we meet the Equalizer, gray-haired, he's older and he's wiser, and he's been doing this for a bit. This is him coming into his own. And by the way, again, I want to point out that scene with Bill Pullman and his wife in the film is so important, because he says he came here because he needed this. And she goes, no, he came here because he needed permission to do what he's about to do. Go to war with the Russian mafia. And she gave him that. By giving him what he needed, that was him getting the approval to do what he needs to do. And I love that. He was looking for permission. So this felt like the end. You see him walking away here, and he's small. And everything else is big, and he's tiny walking away. And I assume this is the ending. But no. Fuqua goes back and absolutely nails this. We see a scene of him at the beach looking out and just appreciating life, having this moment of peace. It's a very Zen moment.
Yeah.
And then we see him back at the restaurant, the cafe. And it's a great shot. You're looking over the stools at him in the background. And he's doing the same thing he always does. The spoon in one position, the napkin for holding his tea. And then we see that he's typing away on the computer. Hey, it's backwards. But thank God I can read backwards. Are the odds against you? What?
This is the Cyrillic version of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Shut the fuck up. And it's basically an ad he's posted online, and he's got a response from somebody that says, "Can you help?" And he just replies, "Yes." And that's it. We know now he is the Equalizer. He's going to go out there and help people. Yeah, it was the first of its kind. There were two films that came out about a year and a half apart. Bullet, and then Freebie and the Bean. And Freebie and the Bean and Bullet were, what do you call that? The precursor to things.
To sort of like the modern kind of hot movie,
It's where they were the primordial soup of what was going to come. And Bullet is the father of the modern chase film, where they mounted cameras onto these cars and would do chases in San Francisco with some of the steepest, craziest fucking hills you ever saw. And Boston has some tall hills too, by the way. Crazy fucking hills. But nothing like San Francisco. And so it became the father of the modern chase movie. The next film, Freebie and the Bean, with Alan Arkin and James Caan. That is the father of the buddy cop action film, action comedy, technically, because there is comedy in it. But the comedy is them, not the situations. There's no gags. It's the way they banter in the film that makes it a comedy. And one of the single greatest action stunt scenes I've ever seen, when he's got a new suit and he did it as a cop to get a discount. And it pisses Alan Arkin's character off because he considers that a dirty thing to do. And he's arguing with him, and he goes to grab the jacket, and James Caan resists him. And in the resisting, it causes Alan Arkin to tear his fucking new suit jacket. And you see, it's like Alan Arkin goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to do that." And James Caan is like really upset now. And they're arguing. They're supposed to be driving a fucking car, but he is totally distracted with rage. And then he realizes, oh my God, we're going to crash. And he hits the rails and goes through the rails off this ramp, through the fucking air, and into an apartment, a tenement building. And crashes through the living room of a house where two people, older couple, have a fold-out bed, and they're sitting there having milk and toast. And just like they're looking up, and there's a car in their living room now coming through the wall. And you see them staggering out of the car. They'd fall out, and they're like, they're hurt. and they're like Alan Arkin's physical comedy in that scene of like just like trying to walk and collapses and then just falls off camera is one of the funniest moments in the film. But James Caan sells the comedy the next moment by asking, "Can I use your phone?" to this older couple. And they're like, "Sure," and they point at it. Never moving from the bed. They're just still sitting there like, what is going on? And he calls into the police station. He goes, "Yeah, we need a tow truck. We have a squad car that needs a tow back to the station." Uh-huh. Hold on. He picks up an envelope, gives the address, and then he realizes, oh, I don't know what. So he opens the apartment door to look at what floor they're on. And he shuts the door and he goes, "Oh, and that's 3rd floor." And then he hangs up the phone. And he kind of collapses. It's just a classic fucking scene. And the comedy is them. The situation is like believable. It's just the insanity of how they react to it. Goodfellas, absolutely based on, yeah. Absolutely. It's based on Henry Hill. There's 2 movies about Henry Hill. If
Really?
you didn't know this. Yeah.
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, there's another film about him made at the same time, and it's the wife of the guy who wrote the screenplay for Goodfellas. And she wrote and directed My Blue Heaven with Steve Martin.
Don't fuck with me. My
I'm
Blue
not fucking with
Heaven?
you. Go look it up. It is absolutely a comical telling of Henry Hill.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I never have tried those 2 movies.
Yes, it's true. It's true. It has one of my favorite jokes in it. Steve Martin's walking down the stairs with Joan Cusack. That's it, Joan Cusack. And walking downstairs, and he turns and he looks at her and he says, "Do you know what the difference is between a light bulb and a pregnant woman?" And she just looks at him like, "What?" And he goes, "You can't unscrew a pregnant woman."
My God. And with that, we should go while we're still winning.
It's a funny line. I just think it's a hilarious film. We should do that film sometime because My Blue Heaven is a great little film. Rick Moranis, great in that film.
Yes.
Capiche, he goes, the word's capiche. Hey, do me a favor. Don't say that word. It hurts my ears when you say it.
Oh, I have heard that somebody else saying it to you.
Sure.
Are you there,
I'll pass.
Anima?
Yeah, kind of, sort of, still.
Well, it's a different kind of film.
No,
And
yes.
if you
and
don't know the background of My Blue Heaven, you would have no idea that that's Henry Hill. He's playing in that film.
it's a good movie. I really.
It is. It's a solid comedy. Steve Martin's great in it. Don't pass on it, Red Shirt. You ought to watch that film if you haven't seen it. Absolutely. I highly recommend it. Is Angelica Houston? Yeah. Danny Houston is her brother. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
He's in X-Men Origins. He's in the latest Wolverine and Deadpool. He's in there. I don't know if he plays the same character. I assume he's the same character. I can't remember. But I did see it, by the way, and I like the new film.
We should.
Yeah, Angelica Houston is absolutely. Well, I need to thank everybody. Tim, Real Wade, of course. Snorts, Just Another Red Shirt. E. Clay Thomason, Penny, Cam's Crash Courses, the Peter Vickman fan site, Vickman's Girl. Janet from Another Planet. Damn it, Janet. That's from a movie. Lee Anthony Davis, D. Bud Martin, Curtis Selby, Daniel's Hot Topics. Good night, Anima. Oh, I didn't realize you had to go. Good night, sweetheart. Yeah, go ahead and get going. We'll end it
for the last hour or so. It's almost 1 a.m. here, but fuck you. We're doing a great show.
Well,
Everything is
it went
good.
long. It went long.
Yep, it did.
So,
Well, you kept
but
pausing it.
this was a fun episode,
going
and
squirrel
let's don't end this
theater.
show with bitching. Let's not end the show with bitching at Gary.
I'm just saying, ADD Theater, squirrel.
Yep. Thank you for watching Deleted Scenes. Thank you for saying that to everyone.
Thank you for being
Good
here.
night. Take
Steven.
care. Stay strong. This is how you win. And by the way, Cam, I hope you're doing well. I always keep you in my prayers. So take care of yourself. Vinkman's Girl, I always pray for you too that you end up getting a shorter name.
Come on, we've had longer names than that. That's not even that complicated.
At least this one is easy to type. Because we have
the
absolutely.
Shortcut, so.
You know, I got to tell you, you guys are reminding me of a story. So there was this time that